One of the funnest and one of the neatest little experiments I did last year was when I took the game Shadow of Memories, which was a game that I had never really played before and I didn't really know a whole lot about, other than that it was divided into 10 chapters. And I took that game and I played one chapter each day. The thing about that was that that game occupied my mind a whole lot more through an entire day than if I had just played it in one 4-hour stretch. That game, it occupied 14 days of my life. And I can remember the moment-to-moment gameplay so fucking vividly, and I can remember the narrative so fucking vividly, because I played it in 5 to 30 minute chunks each day. And I would spend the whole day afterwards, when I had played it, contemplating what each plot element meant. And that was really fun. And this year, I wanted to repeat that experiment, but there was a bit of an issue. Each game that was kind of like Shadow of Memories, both in format and, you know, general like style, was a game that I had already played. So I thought, well, why not just change it a complete 180, and instead of playing a game that I had never played and heard very little about, let's play a game that I've played a lot and know a lot about. So let's start Deadly Premonition, and yeah, let's start with Chapter 0. So, episode 0 is fairly straightforward. There is not a whole lot to it. It is the game's, you know, tutorial level. It opens up as our hero, Francis York Morgan, who you will just call York because that's what everyone calls him. He's driving towards a town. York is an FBI investigator man, and he is a dude who hunts serial killers, and he's on his way to Greenvale because something weird has happened in Greenvale. And that weird thing being the murder we saw in the intro. The strange thing about York is that we see him talking on his phone, but then he puts down his phone and then he keeps talking. It's actually debated who he's talking to, or if he's even talking to anyone when he's on the phone, because the person he's actually talking to is so York, he's driving into town and he's talking about Tom and Jerry for some reason, and their sort of like weird BDSM relationship and how they are codependent on each other and yada yada yada. It's all very interesting, and it will become sort of a recurring thing in York's character that he has these musings about, you know, movies that we're all at least a little bit familiar with but haven't really, you know, had any deeper thoughts about. Like, he has really elaborate thoughts about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which is a slasher movie about tomatoes who come to a town and kill people. And stuff like that. He knows a lot about movies and it's really interesting. So he's driving into town and a strange man runs across the road and he gets distracted, and then he like tumbles down a cliff and lands in a forest. And then we are in the game's tutorial level. We quickly learn that, you know, it's not all natural around here, and these shadow zombie type things, they start pouring out. The strange thing is that York, he doesn't really seem that fazed by it. I mean, he seems so little fazed by it to the extent that he asks his imaginary friend to, you know, handle all the shooting.
Zach, I'll let you handle the meet and greet.
And the imaginary friend, he is us, the player, but he's also a separate character who actually exists within the fiction of the game, which is also like this really cool thing that will come up again and again and again. And it will create this bond between us and the game, because we are not only the protagonist York, we are also this secondary, shadowy person thing who it will make sense at some point. So we arrive in like the crash thing, and then we kill some zombies and we get acquainted with the game's mechanics, which are not great. The controls are very weird and I don't know if I can properly explain it. You don't have full camera controls, you have this weird thing where you can only look up and down. And the other stick, the left stick, handles both your forward movement and your backwards movement, but it also turns you to your left and right. And then on the bumpers, you have a little like dainty strafe to one side and a little dainty strafe to the other side. And your gun, you use your gun by holding down one trigger, and then you can auto aim by clicking on the other trigger, which will aim at the nearest enemy, and then you shoot by pressing A. Another strange thing is that guns are very bad and melee weapons are the way. The beginning enemies have basically no health, but with the gun they take about 4 shots to take down. And the thing about the gun is that you have to aim for the head, and if you don't aim for the head, then you don't do a lot of damage. But if you just hit them with the steel pipe in the beginning, they die in one hit. And with melee, you don't have the distinction between headshots and body shots, so every hit with a pipe or a knife is a headshot for all intents and purposes. And it's not even that, it's a powerful headshot. It's the equivalent to sometimes 3 headshots. Yeah, so melee is like super overpowered, which I didn't learn until my 2nd or 3rd playthrough. And it makes the game basically play on easy mode. So if you're planning on playing, you should definitely use melee. So we find our way past these zombie shadow men, and then we run into this guy with a red coat on, and he has like glowing eyes and he has a giant axe, and he tries to kill us. But he of course fails to kill us because we are awesome, because we are York and also Zack and also ourselves. And we exit this forest, and then there's this little bit of extremely interesting bit of gameplay that I noticed my very first time around, but I don't think anyone else has ever talked about. You have a certain distance that you can sprint in the game, and when you exit the forest, there is a waypoint down the road telling you that you need to go to there to, you know, make the game do more stuff. And the interesting thing is that in any other game, the distance that you could sprint would be a little more than the distance between you and the waypoint. But in this game, it's the complete opposite. If you start sprinting towards the waypoint, you're gonna get, you know, maybe a quarter of the way, and you have to walk slowly while your health replenishes before you can sprint the remaining of the distance. And I don't think that's an oversight. I think that's on purpose, because this is the kind of game where that whole bullshit thing where it's like, it's not the destination, it's the journey. That's this game. This game is the journey. I mean, the destination is really fucking good, but the destination is also the end of the game, and then after the end of the game, you know, there's no more game. And the majesty in this game, and the reason that so many people fall in love with it, is that there is this insane amount of attention to detail, which we'll see when we actually get to playing something that is not the tutorial. Every NPC in this game has a 24-hour life cycle. They will wake up in the morning, they will go to the local diner to eat breakfast, and then they will do like their thing in their day. And we can follow them wherever they fucking go. And the world is full of collectibles, and it's full of interesting things to see, and it's full of side quests. Like there's 30 side quests or something. Every NPC, every major story NPC, of which there are 26 I think, has its own side quest, and that side quest can take the entire duration of the game, where you'll have to be coming back to them again and again as the game progresses, because, you know, the game takes place over maybe a few weeks. And I think that opening bit of the game where you can't sprint the full distance from where you start to where the waypoint is, I think that's fully intentional, because you are forced to come to this stop where you just have to walk very slowly and you have to absorb what is going on in the game, and you fully descend into this small town world. And the game didn't hook me the first time I played it, but on the second time, that moment where you are walking towards the police cruiser, there was a moment where I was like, okay, there is something to this game. I didn't at that point get why people loved it so much, but I got why it was interesting just from that stupid little bit of game. And then after we actually get there, we are then introduced to totally not Naomi Watts.
Now you were very late.
Who is the sheriff's deputy, and she doesn't like us.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
And we don't like her.
She's easy on the eyes. Definitely worth a trip to the primitive world.
But we're definitely gonna bang. That's for fucking sure. And then, curiously enough, from where we were coming, the sheriff comes, and he kind of has the same build as the man in the raincoat. So that's very suspicious. And then they drive into town. And it's this great little bit where we learn that York, he's a fucking asshole. Just by exchanging 5 sentences with these people, we learn that York, he's a dick. And I like it. And he really makes this horrible first impression where he's just such an asshole. And it's great because the people you're talking to are also assholes. And I'm sure that they will become the best of friends. Well, I'm not sure. I know that they will become the best of friends. I'm gonna spoil this. They're gonna become the best of friends. And if you know anything about Twin Peaks, which this is obviously inspired by, you know that that whole being best friends, yeah, that's gonna end badly for everyone. And it's gonna be an amazing train wreck to see. It's the 12th of May, and I'll see you tomorrow on the 13th. Well, it will be the 13th for me. I don't know when this is gonna come out. It's gonna come out at some point. Okay, cool, bye.